So just recently, an acquaintance sent me a script to review, and one glance at that script, and I knew it was written by a newbie. Going through that script, I saw that the story had a direction. It had a direction, although there was still some character arcs that needed to be built. But that story had a solid direction, which I was intrigued by. You understand? But me looking at that script, at the whole structure and everything, you just know that this is a newbie that is very eager to grow in the industry. If you're regular on this channel, you know I'm always big on structure, formatting, relatability of the story, giving your story and your character is a very good arc. I am very big on that. I'll put a link to some of the other videos that I've talked about this in the description box. Like I have always said, for newbie screenwriters in Nigeria, it's not something that, even if you take online courses, like Nigerian online courses, it's not something that goes in depth. You will still need some resources from the internet, some resources from Hollywood, let me put it that way. You still need those resources to be able to like look at the structure, look at the formatting. But one thing you cannot fail to note is that those scripts that you get from script sites, screenplay sites, those scripts you get from there, they are actually what we call production scripts. And sometimes they contain camera angles, they contain the director's perspective, they contain the production designer's perspective, they contain a lot of things mixed together. So when you're seeing it, you can see not. I'm not saying that you don't describe things in full, but sometimes you will see particular colors where during in the description, that's in the action line, you see particular colors of a room, particular direction, how the camera angle and how the camera plays in that story. So those are the things that screenwriters, they don't play a director's role when writing their scripts. It is not our business. We may write a story, mm, we may write a story and the director decides to like, okay, a particular scene of the story, he will use tracking shots, he will use a Dutch angle, high angle, he would use MCUs and everything. It is that one is to the director's perspective. Yes, sometimes the screenwriter, when you're writing, you have this sort of visualization. You visualize your stories, you visualize the characters, you visualize the locations in 3D. It is very important. So sometimes they can co-opt you into when they are doing creating the short list and everything, which is okay, you understand. But for the screenwriter, it is not your prerogative to play the director's role. So saying, okay, and it came from a high angle or the camera pans on, no, 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 no. Every camera angles are should be out of the script. They have no business in the story. They're in your story as a screenwriter. Camera angles have no business in your story. Just leave that out. Leave that to the discretion of the production people, which are the cinematographers, the director, because sometimes a lot of things play a role in how these things are shot. Sometimes the location may not be spacious. So they have to make do of their technical skill in that aspect. Then sometimes too, budgeting. You understand? So a lot of things they play a role in how a particular story or a particular scene is shot. So for screenwriters, for newbies, try as much as you can. Try as much as you can to completely leave out camera angles from your so when you're telling your story. Leave out the camera angles. Let's leave that for the production people. Then again, formatting. How you format the story should be to industry standards. It should be to industry standards. I know that writing 120 pages, 90 pages, 150 pages, sometimes if it is a series, writing Several pages of episodes of a story is actually backbreaking, literally. You understand? But you have to follow the format. You don't write to a point and just assume that the reader you should know that, okay, this one is interior now, this one is exterior. No, you follow the format to the core. You follow the format to the letter. That is industry standard. Yes, if it's your own personal story and you're shooting it with you have the budget and everything, you have the capital to shoot it, the equipment are yours and everything, you're not writing for any production house. Okay, yes, you can, since you're the one that is manning everything, you can do that. You understand? You can even jot your lines and just go. But if you are doing it industry standard, make sure you're consistent with the formatting. Be consistent with the formatting. It's very, very necessary to be consistent with the formatting so that even if that particular story, even if, okay, probably you don't get to sell it at that point, and somebody maybe from Hollywood or Bollywood is interested in your story and they say, okay, okay, can I see this story or anything? Although nobody advises you to send your well-written script to a prospect. You can send a synopsis, you can send a treatment. You understand? Not the whole script before you start talking about theft, copyright theft, intellectual theft. You understand? So you just have to follow the formats so that anyone, anywhere, even if an international director is called to come and direct that particular story, they won't have any issues in probably calling in a script consultant to come and rewrite the script or anything. So you save them that money, and you also save yourself your reputation in the industry. So consistent formatting is necessary to the industry standards, yes, to the letter. So dialogues, even all these AI clones that we have nowadays, you see that they have different voices. You can choose different voices, you can choose different tone, you can choose different accents. You understand? It is very possible. So when you're writing your dialogues, your characters should not sound alike. Your characters should not sound alike. I know, like I've said earlier, it is backbreaking writing these stories. Literally backbreaking. And sometimes you have to like tap in depth into your mind and also research, watch other stories. Yes, watching films gives you inspiration in writing too. You have to develop your vocabulary. So it is a backbreaking effort. However, when you're writing your dialogue, your characters shouldn't sound the same. Even twins that are alike, identical twins, they don't sound the same. Even if they sound the same, but the way they convey messages, the way they convey their thoughts are not actually the same. So your characters should not sound the same. When you're writing your dialogue and you after your first draft, you come back to that story. And that is why it's good to have a character Bible so that you write out your characters, give them distinct qualities. Okay, this person is smart but naive. This person is this and that. So when you're writing, okay, let's take for instance, you write Bimbo. Bimbo is a nerd. Then Shalewa or Shalewa is an art student. Now, the way an artist and art student communicate is different from the way nerds that are so bookish they communicate. They can't communicate the same way. Even if they are, let's take for instance, they are in the same profession, you're writing them in a law firm. If you watch Suits, if you watch that series, you see that they don't sound alike. Yes, they are all in a law firm pursuing the same career, but they have distinct characters. They have distinct sometimes, and you see that sometimes you introduce motifs in your character to also distinguish them. So in your dialogues, you don't make your characters sound alike. And as you don't make them sound alike, you don't make them talk for so long, because not all dialogues are monologues. Yes, there are some instances where a character has to like run a monologue on screen, also just or a narration, and the narration plays over a number of scenes. It is possible, but your dialogues does not have to be very lengthy. They don't have to be so lengthy. No, you are not Stephen King, you are not Shonda Rhimes. Those two people, yes, we know that there are exceptions to how they do what they do, especially how Shonda played Scandal, how she wrote Scandal. It's beautiful. Sometimes the dialogues are lengthy, but you now understand that, okay, this is diplomatic talks and everything. If you understand, if you see, watch the concepts of those things, you understand, okay, it's a governmental thing, you understand. So, but it is not how we communicate, our everyday communication. So you have to like put these things in context. Let your dialogues not be so lengthy. If it's so lengthy, it bores. If it's so short, it does not convey much. So you just do it as is necessary, and don't let your characters sound alike. Don't let them sound that, even if they were raised in the same ghetto. Sometimes there are some persons that, even in the same ghetto, there are some persons that their mindset is that, oh, I'm just here for a while and I'm leaving. Then there are some persons that are, oh, this is the life. I don't want any other life other than this. You understand? So let your dialogues, let them be let them be flavorful. You understand? Let them be flavorful. Let them be also not, don't let your characters sound alike. Don't just let them sound alike. Then your character arc, and also the conflicts in the story. When you say this should happen to this person and this is the result, life is not always a straight line. That's why I'm very big on relatability. I am so big on relatability. Life is not a straight line. You understand? And as we know that life is not a straight line, there are some curves that should happen. There are some twists and turns that should be introduced in the story. Don't make your story be a 180-degree straight line ish story. Introduce obtuse angle, introduce an acute angle, introduce a right angle. Just along that straight line, introduce not something that would make the story so repetitive. No, no, that's not what we are talking about. But don't let it just be, okay, it did here, it happened here, it happened here. No, let it be flavorful and let it be relatable. Like I would always, always, always say, it is very possible to grow in this industry. It is very possible. There are some persons that, all these newbies that are coming up, they are so so hot. And just know that me, I am rooting for you in your screenwriting journey. I am rooting for you. You would write stories for big screens, but you know that in this, yes, we know that there is luck, there is connection, and there is this and there is that. But once you master your craft, mastering the craft is where the big deal is, because you may know one big director, and the person gives you an opportunity to write a story, and he doesn't it doesn't satisfy him. Yes, he will pay you and also call script consultants to come and work on the story, but rest assured that next time the person may not have you in their top five list of screenwriters to call. So it's very good to master the craft. Master the craft. I'll link some videos in the description and also some websites where you can go download scripts, look at it, because a lot of times, yes, it is when we see things, that's when we know that, okay, it's supposed to go this way, it's supposed to go that way. Okay, oh, this is my mistake, that is my mistake. And I am telling you that even after I worked on that story, for that acquaintance, I just knew that it would be a blockbuster. It would be a blockbuster because the guy's story, the storyline was solid, though I added a lot of some things there, which I knew that probably he didn't just see from that angle, he didn't see from that perspective, and you know that he's trying. When I was starting out, my own mistakes were worse, but it took a lot of fine tuning, a lot of mastering, a lot of also seeing other stories and also building myself to get to this level, although I've not gotten to where I intend to be, but I could say satisfactorily that I would write your story and write it excellently well. Till I come your way again next time, keep being the best, the very best.